Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for your right. Get up, stand up. Stand up for...
Live from the backwoods of America in an undisclosed location. This is Town2weekly with Ben Craner and Jason Leach. Ben is the creator of Town2weekly, and I'm thankful that he has us here today. Jason does politicallyscrewed.com. He's a great guy, does great blogs, and I'm good to get us going. Today, Jason, you're going to have a topic for us, and what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I want to start off with the $70,000 U.S. taxpayer dollars, keep in mind, that was paid to the Pakistani government to run ads against this anti-Islam film that was created here in the United States. Davis, I have a video. If you could play that, please.
Just real quick, the video. Has anyone seen that video?
It is the actual video.
I've seen 2 seconds of it.
I actually viewed part of that video, and it's not even B-rated. It's I don't know if I'd put it in the C category, and I doubt very many of these people that attack these embassies overseas and are marching the street, I doubt if any of them even have access to watching that video. What's the point? And why are we apologizing for this? Go ahead, Jason. Take that away. Oh, we ready to show that?
Yeah, yes. Let's play that video.
And the US government released a video commercial in Pakistan in which it condemned the anti-Islam film that sparked these protests in the country. The message that aired on television channels there has President Barack Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton condemning the anti-Islamic film. That should be right.
We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others.
Let me state very clearly, and I hope it is obvious, that the United States government had absolutely nothing to do with this video. We absolutely reject its content and message. America's commitment to religious tolerance goes back to the very beginning of our nation.
All right, turn it off. I can't. All right. So we spent $70,000 to air this program on, the Pakistani government to try to build our relations with the Middle East right now with the riots that have, been upheld. I don't get it. Why can't we spend $70,000 to tell those people that we give you billions of dollars in aid?
Yep. Go ahead.
For a sovereign, forget that he's the president of the United States, but for any sovereign to stoop to go groveling to someone else's news media to air an apology. I'm sorry. This guy, he's like a driveling little school kid going up to a bully and saying, "Please don't hit me anymore. I'll give you my potato chips. You want my cookies?" What's with this guy?
I don't. Gorman, what do you think? I can't take this anymore.
I think it's ridiculous. What was it the other day? Obama said this was a bleep. Was a bleep in our history. To me, this isn't a bleep. Somebody died. A couple of people have died.
Four Americans.
Well, there's
one
more
being
than
the
that.
ambassador, Mr. Stevens.
So why is the president saying this is a bleep in history?
Well, another thing too. Our ambassador to Libya died. He puts this video on in Pakistan.
The purpose of it, that from the research that I saw, was they could reach more of the angry Pakistanis that were trying to uprise there.
Wow. This apology tour this guy's been running for the last 4 years has to stop. I'm sick of it. And American people, we need a strong leader in the White House. We don't need some pansy that's, going around apologizing. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing that bothers me so much
weakness.
about it. They come out, like you said, on the apology tour. We're sorry we have a First Amendment right. Why are we sorry for that? I'm proud that we have a First Amendment right. And yes, we are the most religious tolerance country in the world. But there comes a time where enough's enough.
I don't know if anyone's looked into this. This might be something we have to come back to. The person that produced that video, you realize he's been rounded up and he's in jail right now on other charges?
I think he is a convicted felon, if I'm not mistaken.
But the point is, do you think if he was not exercising his First Amendment right, would they even have considered going and rounding him up like we're in some third world country, so some thug can go bust in your door and grab you by the collar and drag you off?
Did you guys hear about the diary he wrote, saying that he didn't feel safe and
that just came out, and they're starting to look more into that.
He thought that an attack was going to happen soon.
And by the way, the White House is furious. And guess what news organization brought out the diary? CNN.
Yep.
I would never thought that. Maybe on Fox, but not CNN.
Well, there's a narrative in the news, and some of the media are not with Obama. I've got a little story I can get into on that later. But back to this whole apology tour, it's disgusting. If you've ever traveled overseas and you understand how important it is that we have a strong presence overseas, because it dictates whether if I can go overseas as a businessman and conduct business and feel safe in the environment I travel in. If I can't do that, it's going to lower my ability to do business overseas. I'm telling you right now, America's in a weak point, and this apology tour has to end.
Well, unfortunately, I think it's going to be 4 more years of it.
What about the fact that the Marines that were there weren't there to protect him? They were there for information or...
Correct. And there's also rumor out there that the Marines weren't even carrying live rounds.
Yep.
You're supposed to protect our ambassadors and our embassies without live rounds?
Yep.
What is this, airsoft battle? I mean, hello?
Pearl Harbor happened. Wasn't even on the mainland United States. And we reacted. How did we react this time? We didn't.
We apologize.
No, we didn't apologize. We said hello with some medals on bombers that went to Japan.
I said how do we react this time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Back then, there's a little thing we called a little Doolittle raid that dropped a little "I got your" message on Tokyo. It was some explosives.
Well, the thing is this, guys. And it's kind of been hush now on the media because it's already been played out. But we spent $70,000 for these ads. We have a U.S. Ambassador Stevens that was killed along with 3 other Americans on U.S. soil. Let's keep that clear. And Obama says these are just nothing but bumps in the road on his 60-minute interview the other night. I think he has been weak and poor on standing up for America and carrying that big stick that you have to carry sometimes.
Well, he calls this bumps on the road, Jason. I'm getting tired of this administration that's been one continuous bump on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, how many bumps are we going to tolerate here?
That's a lot of speed bumps. It's like a speed bump every foot. There's another speed bump.
We're driving on gravel.
Yeah.
I mean, the apology started. His apology tour started the day he got into presidency. He went to Cairo, Egypt, apologized. He went all over Europe, apologizing. He's still apologizing to this day. He doesn't know what else to do. That is his foreign policy. I'm sorry, I'm an American.
How about this for a new form, if I can?
Yeah.
A new foreign policy for America. You all hate us, that's fine. We're pulling all the troops out. We're pulling all that financial aid that we give these other countries, and we're putting it back in America where it belongs.
We have a good point made in the chat room. Muslims do not care if we apologize to them. They still hate us.
That's true.
Well, not all Muslims, but the ones out there protesting in the Middle East.
The extreme radicalists, they do.
Yeah.
It's radical Islam, which the president doesn't want to say.
Yeah.
This is a point blank. If you know one way of dealing with people, and this is a harsh thing to say, but there was an Israeli that I won't mention him by name, but he basically said, if a terrorist comes and kills one of yours, you have to be prepared to go after and kill 100 of his.
Yeah.
And if you're not, you're never going to send the right message. You know, and if they kill 100 of yours, you better be prepared to kill 1,000 of theirs, or you're not going to send the right message. That's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
But that's what we're dealing with. And what does this guy do? They kill 4 of ours, and what do we do?
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to switch it up.
money.
No, you're fine. Ben's going to take it back to Georgia, right?
Well, normally I would, but this is election season.
Okay.
All right? And I want people to key in on a couple of things, and we actually mentioned it briefly already. CNN doesn't seem entirely loyal to Obama anymore. And if you look, there's a story out there, the Democrat elector, or editor-in-chief in the U.S. News and World Report, which is not necessarily Fox News, Mr. Zuckerman, or Zuckerman, let me get his name right here. Anyway, he's the editor, and he is clearly not pro-Republican. And this guy is pretty much telling us that Obama is being divisive, dishonest, and he's running a campaign that is discouraging enterprise in a time when our country is in economic crisis. Now, I'm just telling you, the news media, the only way we're going to get on track, and this is going to be an election that is a real choice, if the media does wake up. And if they don't wake up, I think it's a lost cause. Because the news media has to rise up and become what the news media has always been, or at least claimed.
It's not going to do that anymore. You look at MSN, bow down to Obama's feet.
MSN is not news media.
It's still a media outlet that people turn to.
People take it serious.
If people are actually turning to MSNBC News and they're thinking they're getting news, not commentary.
Well, they can say a lot about that for Fox News. You look at Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, Greta. All those people are commentary news.
That's true.
But if you look at Fox, between like 11 a.m. till 7 p.m., it's really news.
Brett Baer is news.
I love Brett Baer because he calls out both parties.
Yeah. He's not. He's just going to reporting the stories. And if someone looks at Fox, Sean Hannity, and say, "Oh yeah, it's news." Well, they got screw loose.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I can sit there and honestly look at Hannity and know he's not news. But I'm afraid there's a lot of people that look at MSNBC and literally buy that as news.
Or
and
what about
there's some screws loose out there?
HBO Bill Maher.
Oh.
Or The Daily Show. People take that as news.
Well,
with Jon Stewart,
Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
It's funny though. I'm sorry.
It's funny.
It's funny.
We know the difference between satire and news, and people don't.
Well, we have to realize that electorate, there's a lot of people out there, they wouldn't even know that Obama is president or not. And they're going to vote, and they're going to mark the slot in there that says Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't know if Secretary of State was Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton. They don't know.
Right. Well, anything else you got on that?
Well, the bottom line is that we have TV tax, the commercials. Everybody's going to be so confused by the time they go to vote. And the news media, it's probably true that they're going to affect the outcome of this election. And I don't know if there's any way around it. In this same article, this guy's like saying Obama's divisive. He's, dishonest and all stuff. He turns it on Romney and accuses him that he's being too late and too weak in his positions, and he's never going to win because he's not the perfect candidate. And I'm like, so we're gonna go ahead and elect this divisive, corrupt candidate because we have a weak guy that might be better for the economy, but he's too weak on his positions as running as a candidate.
Yeah.
And the candidate running is more important to the news media than the qualifications of the candidate running.
Or even what the president's done in the last 4 years. I mean, it's all spin by the Obama administration.
Hold on. We got an interesting topic in the chat room I'm trying to respond to. I don't even think we want to get into it.
What is that?
They're talking about generalizing all Muslims as being terrorist type or extremist, which is not fair. And
it's all about perception, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's the way people, view certain things. If you're walking down the street and you see a guy that's dressed like a thug, guess what? You're gonna think he's a thug.
Could be the nicest guy you ever know.
Nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But perception is he looks like a thug, so more likely he's gonna cause some kind of harm against me. So I'm gonna get away from this guy.
Yeah.
The same thing with Muslims. People look at Muslims and the religion of Islam as all the same, because that's what we've come to learn since 2001.
If people travel overseas and you go to Muslim states, there is a real deep-seated hate in a majority of the people in certain countries. And as Americans, we are blind to it. We have no idea the level of hate that exists in some countries. You don't get a leader of a country that calls America the Great Satan, and they mean it, and they call Israel the Little Satan. You don't get that anywhere else in the world. You have to go to a Muslim country to get that. And we sit there and call them and appease them, and we call them the peace-loving religion of Islam.
That now.
And they don't call us the peace-loving, Americans. They call us the Great Satan. So we can go play these games all we want to and act like, oh yeah, they're peace-loving, while they're calling us the Great Satan. We need to pull the wool back over our eyes and say, you know what? They're calling us what they're calling us, and they're calling us the Great Satan. And that's a reality we didn't come to grips with, and we got to stop sitting there and apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm Mr. Obama over here. I'll do whatever. I'll bow to you if you want me to. I'll apologize for everything gone on in our history. And tell you what, I'll even turn down that little rhetoric on the First Amendment. We'll actually buy into this idea that your religion is better than everyone else's, and we're going to apologize for ours. I'm sorry. This guy is disgraceful. If he wins another 4 years, hey, it's going to be a sad day. A sad another 4 years. And the apology tour is going to continue.
Well, wait towards the end of the program. I'll show you a video that's going to show you why he's going to win.
Sick.
Well, we're going to move on. And it actually leads into what you were talking about. America is blind right now.
Very.
We are blind. Because the majority of the people don't realize their individual actions are causing us to go down like a ship sinking. People don't pay attention until the last minute. And like you said, when they go vote, it's Democrat, Republican. That's it.
They buy into a party. They don't buy into an ideology that they can actually grapple with. They're buying into an ideology driven by something that someone's told them to buy into. Maybe they almost feel like they've been born a Democrat or born a Republican.
Exactly.
And that's just who they are, and that's just where they're going to vote.
Exactly. And it's all rhetoric. And we're going to play a video we're going to play two videos that kind of shows that. Go ahead with that first one.
And if you're not hearing us, if you're only hearing us on radio and not TV, we got some good audio and we'll explain what's going on here. So don't worry. Stay tuned. We got that coming up. And one
Senator
second
Obama.
here.
Let's go, Will.
Yeah, Senator Obama.
The problem is that the way Bush has done it over the last 8 years is to take out a credit card from the Bank of China in the name of our children, driving up our national debt from $5 trillion for the first 42 presidents. Number 43 added $4 trillion by his lonesome. so that we now have over $9 trillion of debt that we are going to have to pay back. $30,000 for every man, woman, and child. That's irresponsible. It's unpatriotic.
Okay, so that was Obama in 2008 or 7. Now let's hear Obama in 2012. Will. He was asked the question of how much is the debt now, and apparently in 2008 the debt was very important to Obama. Now let's see how important it is in 2012.
Is this Dave Letterman little episode?
Mm-hmm.
And get our books in order.
Now, do you remember what that number was? Was it 10 trillion? Was it?
I don't remember what the number was precisely.
Right.
16. Hello.
This is me, and I got the credit card guy.
We could
calling
stop
me
it there.
every day.
Okay, so he goes from calling Bush evil for taking out that much debt, but yet he doesn't even know that it's 16 trillion now. What kind of leadership do we have in this country, or are we doing politics bipartisanship? Jason, what you thinking over there?
I think he's taking a big, stinky dump in the Oval Office. Let's be serious here. The fact that Letterman doesn't even know what the debt is sad. It's $16 trillion.
Sad thing about I think Letterman knew
he was trying to be nice.
He was
He went back to the Bush when Bush left. It was 10 trillion, like 10.4. Obama's literally added $6 trillion to the debt, and he sits there and calls President Bush unpatriotic for adding $4.5 trillion in 8 years to the national debt, and he's done it in less than 4, not even 4 yet. He's done $6 trillion. I don't understand him.
I want to show you something. You probably can't see it, but this is my budget. I do it every week. I write down what I'm spending my money on. So why the hell can't our government do it?
Because we don't know how to budget.
Why can they spend my money so great, but yet still need more?
There's a little rant. Can I rant for a second?
Rant.
Go ahead.
All right, we're just playing politics here. One side wants to blame Bush, the other side wants to blame Obama, and this is nothing but a political show.
Yep.
We have, and there's a 7th District Congressman right here, my congressman, Mr. Woodall. He put it to us pretty succinctly recently in a little town hall meeting. Are we ever going to get out of this mess? Is there any way America can get out of the debt they're in?
Yes.
Well, according to Mr. Woodall, and this was probably not for public consumption per se, but he looked at a little kid, my friend's son, in the eye, and he says he didn't see how.
Yeah,
Because here is what's going on in Washington. There's 70% of the budget that's accounted for, and we refuse to talk about. It's called entitlements. We have no intention, not Democrats, not Republicans, we have no intention of discussing what the real issue is. 70% of the budget is already spent, and we won't talk about it. All we're going to talk about is the 30%, and then we're going to talk about a little sliver of what we're going to change in that. 70% of the budget is not going to be talked about, and we're only collecting about 60% of the total budget. And we're not even going to talk about 70%, which we can't even afford already. We can't even afford the entitlements that we have to pay. We're going in debt for those, and the stuff we can talk about, or is allowed to talk about, both parties want to talk about that and not deal with the issues of entitlement. No one's going to touch the entitlements. Nobody.
Both parties.
Both parties. Democrats, Republicans, and we get all worked up in a frenzy, pro-Obama, pro-Romney, da-da-da-da, and neither one is dealing with the issues. We're playing freaking games, and we're not going to stop. That's my rant. Go ahead. Take it away.
I'll tell you how we pay off all our debt. America fails. That's when it's going to happen. When America finally reaches her collapse. That's when it will happen.
What does the world look like when that happens?
That's probably going to look ugly.
1776?
Yeah.
It's going to look like...
Back to the early 1700s. It's going to be bad. Unless Congress really passes a budget and cuts across the board. Don't just cut, entitlements. You got to cut spending in the military. You got to cut spending wherever you can until you can start paying off this debt.
How about we cut the president's pay, senators' pay.
You know, here's the issue. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take a segment to talk about this one. Is it right, producer?
Are we doing paper, rock, scissors?
Paper, rock,
Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, best 2
Well,
out
I'll
of
tell you what. Let's get to that. We'll give you some extra time.
I've got an ugly topic, but anyway.
Well, we'll cut
get
the
ugly in
hot
a little
topic.
bit.
We'll cut the hot topic a little short. Let's go ahead and play a video that leads into it and carries the conversation on. This kind of shows you what we were talking about. It's all politics. It's not about what they're really trying to do for us. You ready, producer?
Just a second.
And a 1, and a 2. All right, what's this coming up about?
These
There
are
you
the
go.
steps that we must take. There are plenty of steps we can take.
It's
right
Obama in
now,
2008 and Obama in
to get our
2012.
economy back on track, to help create jobs.
Saying the
and grow this
exact
economy.
same things
If we
4
are
years
going to
later.
deal with our dependence on foreign oil,
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
We'll recruit an army of new teachers. I want to recruit an army of new teachers.
That are
Make
failing.
college affordable. Make college more affordable. And solar and wind and biodiesel. Solar and wind and biodiesel. And repair our crumbling roads and bridges. We've got crumbling roads and bridges. At a time when so many people are struggling to keep up. A moment when so many people are still struggling. Finally meet the challenges that we face as a nation. As we look ahead to the challenges we face as a nation, this is our time to put our people back to work.
to put more people back to work.
Tonight, more Americans are out of work. We still got friends out there and family who are looking for work. More of you have lost your homes. All across America, there are homes that are still underwater.
We all know America's going through tough times right now.
We've gone through some tough times. We will rise or fall. We rise and fall as one nation. As one nation. As one people. As one people. It's time to realize that we are in this together, because I believe we're all in it together. That America is a place where you can make it if you try. A place where you can make it if you try. Because I believe in you. Because I believe in you. Your hopes. Your hopes. Your dreams. Your dreams. Knock on some doors for me. Knock on doors with me. And make some calls for me. And make phone calls with me. If you are willing to work with me. If you're willing to work even harder in this election.
All right, that's good.
I promise you.
We got the point. Did you guys notice in 2008 he was more energetic,
Oh yeah.
had louder crowds of applause, and 2012 was kind of like, we need to get more jobs.
Yeah.
We need to get more jobs.
Oh, I did notice something about that video.
What's that?
Obama is a green job creator. Think about it. His speeches are all recycled. He did create a
Good.
green job. All his speeches are recycled. I love it.
He's not wasting paper. Of course, he
And
is
apparently
married
neither
to
is the speech writers.
Well, that's true. Maybe he's saving a little money there.
Save the planet with recycled speeches.
Yeah, well, you know, he needs to hire some more people. Who could, you know, maybe help with the job crisis we have out there.
But it leads into what you're saying. It recycles. It's just politics. It's not looking out for the best interest, because they're just saying the things that they know people are going to like.
Well, it's poll driven. He knows that if he says this and this, he'll get elected because it worked 4 years ago, and he's just going to recycle the same thing because it worked back then. The same dumb people are still the dumb people today.
We got a good point, chat room. They're arguing about Bush and Obama being the same, but somebody said, I don't care who set the house on fire, just somebody put the damn thing out.
Absolutely.
And you know what? You know, that's a good point. Because remember, Barack Obama in 2008 came out there and said, I can fix this. I can fix it all. And if I don't, I'm a one-term president. Well, you know what, Mr. President? Live up to your own statement and become a one-term president.
Hey, Obama, you said you can't change it from the inside, then go outside. We don't want you here.
Well, Romney, Obama, whoever gets in there, and you've got to start dealing with the real issues. You have to. We don't have an option anymore. We have to get down to nuts and bolts, and we've got to talk turkey. I mean, we've got to go into the guts of the problem and rip them out. We have to. We don't have an option here. It's not about us. It's really about our children. And, you know, I've got 3 boys. I look at my 8-year-old, I look into his eyes, and I fear for what he's going to face when he's my age. That's what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. This is real life. This is our generation. This is our generation's time to rise up and do something, or we're going to watch ourselves getting ran over, and our future children's future. I mean, it's going to be a mess.
Well, Jason, you got a video to kind of play along with all this.
This is the reason why Obama will win re-election. Because this country is full of nothing but stupid people. Play the video.
Is this a man on the street?
Whose video is
this? This is how... Well, real quick, Will, sorry. Howard Stern sent a man on the street again in Harlem to ask basic questions about Obama and his policies and the things that he stands for. Now, keep in mind, they changed it around.
Sure.
They're like, what do you think about Paul Ryan being Obama's vice president nominee? Oh, I love him. So, I have to get this point across that this is the stupidity of the American people.
It's some dumb asses, yeah. I mean, you're...
Go ahead and play that.
You're trying to change the U.S.
Absolutely. And what do you like that he's done so far?
I mean, you know, got the Medicaid and all that, the medical thing going. You know what I'm saying? He got most of the jobs like he said he would. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he really improving it. But he needs to improve more, so he needs to stay on up in so he can do more, you know what I'm saying?
That guy might be drunk.
Like he said he would.
Yeah. Do you hope he will eventually find and kill bin Laden?
He'll eventually do it, though.
You think he'll eventually find him and kill him if he wins this election?
Every person they interviewed, about 10 people.
They didn't know that bin Laden was dead?
I'm telling you, I can play every one of these interviews. They don't know bin Laden.
Go for the next one.
Over wherever the hell Sandwich
I think this guy knows what day it is.
Yeah, I know. But this woman, I would have thought, this woman sounded very with it. Listen to this.
Do you know who you're going to vote for in this election?
Obama. I just don't like Romney.
What is it about Mitt Romney that you don't like?
Is it that he's pro-choice or?
Yes, and it's just his general, it's him in general. I just don't like him.
Because he's a Muslim?
No, it has nothing to do with religion or what his views are. I just don't like him.
Do you think Obama made the right choice by choosing Paul Ryan as his vice president?
Yes.
Do you think he picked Paul Ryan because he's African American or because he's qualified?
It could be a little bit of both.
And do you think McCain has a shot this time out to beat Obama for this election?
No. I just don't see McCain as like presidential material. I don't see it.
What percentage of the vote do you think McCain will get over Obama this time?
About 20, I guess.
Over Obama.
If Obama wins this time, are you hoping that we finally catch and kill Osama bin Laden?
Honestly, I don't agree with the whole war thing, but if we, you know...
Do you think he should just go to jail then, bin Laden?
Yeah, he could be tortured, but, you know, I don't believe in killing.
How long of a jail term do you think bin Laden should get when we find him?
It should be indefinite.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Stop this. I can't do this anymore. I'll tell you, you know, the one question is like, why don't you like Mitt Romney? I'll tell you what the true answer is. Because he's white. Plain and simple. Why couldn't you just say it?
Yeah.
This is the stupidity that is canceling out my vote.
Yeah.
This is the stupidity that's putting President Obama in office another 4 years.
You know what's sad? There was so much promise people put in that guy. There's so much promise of bringing us together, of uniting a country that, let's face it, this country has been a country that has a scarred past. And this guy, so many people put so much hope in him that he was going to bring us together. He was going to be the great uniter. And we could look on a day when we had our first African-American president and we could be proud. And this guy has done nothing but divided.
Worse than what it was.
It's so divided right now. There's so much tension between rich and poor, black and white, the religions. This guy is doing nothing but dividing and conquering. He is taking a textbook play out of the old, conquerors of Alexander the Great and so on. I mean, this guy is a divide and conquer. That's how he's going about his new campaign now. That hope and change, I don't see that anywhere anymore. It's destroy the rich. It's take down, person because, and he accuses everyone. His whole campaign is accusing anyone that doesn't vote for him as being a racist. That's his playbook. And it's sick. This guy's a divider in chief, not a uniter.
I watched a video and it was really sad to me. They don't even know about bin Laden. They have no clue
Clueless.
that that man is already dead. You know what? I hope these people sit on their fat butts at home on the couch and collect their welfare check when I go cast my ballot. I'd rather them not vote at all. And to be honest with you, I think there should be some kind of test in order to vote to begin with.
Yeah. You're
Hold
used
on.
to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mark. Jump in here.
Yeah, you can
To play devil's advocate here, okay? I can understand why they would vote for him for being black. There's a sense of pride. Fair enough.
I get
2008,
that.
there's a sense of pride. You're seeing somebody like you, just like JFK. He was Irish. I know everybody in Ireland was going crazy.
Sure.
Fine. But you know, it's 4 years later, and you got to realize at what point when somebody's not doing the job right, you got to say, like, okay, his character is not matching.
Well, let's stick on the black issue. What has Obama done for the black community? Oh, that's right.
Increase
Higher
the-
unemployment for the black community than any other president.
Yeah.
So they used that because he's black, he's here to help the black community. Get over yourself. Read the facts that he has done nothing for you. Nothing. Except put 15 million more people on food stamps. That's about it.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably done more to hurt the black community than any other president before. There's more unemployment in the black community. There's more dependence on the federal government and black community. When you say dependence on anything or anybody, that is akin to the ugly and nasty word called slavery. If you're dependent on someone else for your existence, you're enslaved. And I'm sorry, this guy, he is the new plantation owner, and that plantation is the federal government, and he's the head of it, and it's a sick thing. He's expanded that plantation more than any other president in the freaking history of the nation, and he's ashamed. He should be shamed, and the black community should shame him.
It should be a little bit less about what can the government do for me? What can the government do? What can the government do? Government can do this. Government can do that. Instead of saying, grow up, accept some personal responsibility, and let's help these people build themselves up and not keep holding them down.
Pride in yourself.
I love
absolutely.
the idea of a hand up and not a handout. A handout, like somebody says, creates control. When you give food stamps and welfare, you become dependent and you don't want to move away from it. But if you give enough to show somebody if they work harder, they will get out of that and they will get better and they'll work harder.
I just can't take it. I think it's if these are the people voting in November, we're all screwed.
Yeah.
This country is screwed. It's politically screwed.
Yeah.
you know, and the whole point that you're making, Jason, is that because there's so many people out there, they don't know the difference between Bin Laden and the joke we have as the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the difference between Hillary Clinton and Paul Ryan. They would have no idea. They don't care. You know, if you had the most wanted, criminal on a milk carton, and you put Paul Ryan on there, they'd believe it. They had no clue, and it's scary. I think they are going to control those masses out there. Are going to control the election, and it's a sad day. And I don't want to sound pessimistic, but honestly, in many ways, America, we're going off a cliff, and it does sound pessimistic. And I'm sorry, guys, I kind of feel a little hopeless.
I'm feeling that way. We'll see what November brings.
I'm pessimistic.
I'm pessimistic.
Optimistic, sorry.
Pessimistic. Yeah,
I'm optimistic.
Optimistic. You're optimistic. You're saying you're optimistic. Tell me why. How are you optimistic?
Because if he gets elected 4 more years, we're going to have a lot of shit to clean up. Plain and simple. Okay? Plain and simple. But I think that people are overjudging the turnout from 2008. They're forgetting that turnout's not going to show up again.
I think you're right. I mean, there is some chance. I don't know if Romney can handle the task at hand. You know, it goes back to a 70% issue of our budget that has to be dealt with, and neither one wants to deal with it. You know, this isn't this Obama's issue. The crisis that Obama's dealing with is set in motion by years and years of entitlement, set in motion by FDR. I mean, the chickens are coming home to roost. Using a famous phrase from Mr. Obama's close friend and disassociated pastor. I mean, these chickens are coming home to roost. I mean, you can't sit there and act like I can pay out and pay out and pay out this thing we call Social Security. When Social Security used to be given out and doled out based on 10 people working and 1 person retired. That was the system. 1960s, it was working fine. Right now, we're getting close to 2 people working for every 1 person retired. That's not working anymore. And the numbers are going in the wrong direction. Pretty soon, we're going to have as many people retired that are working. And when that happens, mathematically, this is an impossible equation. And you go tell some older person who's about ready to retire that you're not going to be able to pay, guess what they're going to do? They're not going to vote for you.
Yeah.
And basically, Rome is burning, and the old people are watching it burn. And I'm sorry, that's the reality, and no one wants to say it.
It's like the burn where there's no cream to heal it.
Basically. You know, leave it to you. You always got to take my rant and make it funny.
Okay, Ben, you said you had another topic you wanted to bring into us.
Well, the topic is, and it's right on, I mean, we're dealing with it right now.
Check that out for me.
Our entitlements in this nation was stuck in place when this nation won the Second World War. We were the top of the world. We controlled everything. All industry was in the U.S. The steel industry around the world was destroyed. Germany didn't have one. Japan didn't have one. Why? Because there's this little thing called Hiroshima. There's a big old fire in Dresden. Their commercial centers, their industrial centers were depleted. And we had everything intact. We controlled the world as far as economically speaking. And we put in these rosy predictions that this would last forever. It's not.
But the reason why it's not is because America is one of the highest, as far as taxes go,
corporate
harsh
taxes.
On corporate taxes.
Sure.
I think we're second place behind Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's that bad. So if businesses have to pay, can do their job overseas for less in taxes and less in pay, that's what they're going to do. It's about profitability.
You really don't have an option in this. You have to, as a nation, deal with some real issues. Y'all get that feedback on that phone? Kill that thing. Get a shoe out and hit it. Basically, we have to deal with our entitlement issues in this nation. And no one is dealing with it. No politician has, pardon my French, none of them have the gravitas. None of them have the balls to step up there and say, this has to be dealt with. Until a politician steps up there and does that, we're screwed. We're not going to make it. We're going to go off the proverbial cliff. We're heading there and we're going down the track.
Unfortunately, every time our government makes a law, they have no clause to change it back easily. Just like when the Social Security came through, there was the Texas, what's that town?
Galveston.
Galveston. Okay.
Yep.
They had the option of not going into Social Security and having their own private.
Sure.
And it worked for them. But then the government was like, oh, wait, we're not going to get all that money, so let's stop that now.
Yeah, you can't do that anymore.
No.
You can't opt out.
No. And it's ridiculous. We let in too much government control, just like Rhode Island school bans father-daughter dances. Because some mothers and daughters don't have a father to go to the dance with. Look, I'm sorry that happened. There could be a good reason why they don't have a father at home. And that's sad. But why are we punishing everybody else? Now you can't take if you had a daughter, you can't take her.
I don't have a daughter.
But if you did, you can't take her.
It doesn't hurt me one bit. It shouldn't hurt me one bit that someone else across the street can take their daughter to a father-daughter dance.
Government
Good
control.
for them.
Government control. Just like in New York, you can't have a soda more than 16 ounces. When did I ask the government to be my mom and dad? If I want to be fat, I can be fat.
You can now have misdemeanor pot possession. You can't have a big gulp, but you can smoke a doobie.
I didn't.
That might be a better world, actually. I'm not sure.
Everybody's walking around stoned. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Yeah, but then you'll be thirsty as hell.
If it is as pessimistic as it is going to be, as possibly, that might be the best thing for us.
Listen, if New York bans Twinkies, there's
screwed.
going to be worse riots in New York than there were in the Middle East. That's all I'm saying. If people are allowed to smoke pot and you take away their Twinkies, it's over.
I didn't vote for my parents. I want my government to take care of us as far as defense, as far as security.
That's the purpose.
I don't need somebody telling me not to eat something. I already have a girlfriend that does that. Okay? I don't need the government telling me not to eat something bad.
Wait till they're in your bedroom.
Ugh.
You'll be like, oh no, that's the wrong stroke.
Yeah. You're going to be putting sensor lines on me now.
Yeah.
That's like I can't even walk in my own shower without a towel on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Well, they are going to monitor your activity. I think that's the next thing. If you don't have the proper heart and the proper doctor approved clearance, I think they're going to bar you from certain activities in your bedroom pretty soon.
Yeah. Also, real quick to stay on the New York topic, New York just also passed contraceptions and a morning after pill for young females in high school and middle school. And guess what? The parents have to opt out. They have to opt out of the program. If they don't opt out, their kid can get it without their parents knowing.
Get an abortion at, what, 14 was it?
Well, they get the morning after pill without their parents being notified. When did we start doing this whole, you have to opt out?
But
what happened to, why can't we just opt in?
When I was in high school, they wouldn't even give me a Tylenol without my parents' permission. And now they give you the morning after pill.
Well, I think we're talking about one central issue here. The government is starting to be the parent. I went to this is a couple years ago, my principal at our little elementary school, she said something that kind of got my hair kind of raised up a little bit. She made a comment that teachers are no longer just teachers. They're caregivers. And I took offense to that. I'm the dad. I'm the caregiver. I'm sorry. You're a stranger. You don't belong in my house. And it's sad enough that you take my money from me and take my kids as well, and now you're going to tell me you're my caregiver, you're the caregiver for my kids. But that's where we're at. Yeah. We're allowing the government to be our caregivers.
Well,
and the kids are being taught that at a young age, and we're getting spoon-fed it even as the parents. That the school, the government, is going to take care of us, and they're going to be our caregivers. Heck, they'll babysit our kids for us. We don't have to do anything. And we'll even give them the morning after pill. And guess what? We'll take care of everything.
Okay, we're going to do some questionings.
Questions?
Mm-hmm.
Questions?
Questions from the audience. I haven't been paying attention that much to the chat room. I know it's been going back and forth for different topics.
Will, step in. What do we got?
All right. First question. Rami, was he wrong saying what he said?
As far as
the 40%.
Oh, the 47% moochers.
Yes.
Yeah. He should have stuck by that story. Instead of coward down to the Democrats.
Look, people spin and said he doesn't care about all Americans, only the ones that are going to vote for him. No, he was saying I'm not going to campaign to people who are automatically going to vote for Obama. What's the point? They don't like me. They don't agree with me. They're not going to vote for me. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Besides the fact that it's the truth.
Yeah, they're not going to vote for him.
That's all he was saying. He's not saying. He made the quote, I care for all these people. Obama cares for all these people. Obama's not going to do the job. I'm going to do the job. And so far, it's true. Obama hasn't done the job to reach out to people like us.
Yeah, but just like every single Republican, when the Democrats come out crying, oh, how dare you? He comes out and says, I'm sorry. No. Stand by your words.
Romney is not the best politician.
No.
Because he's not. essentially he's a businessman.
I think that's it. He is a businessman at heart, and that's where he's coming from, and it's just part of who he is he's a makeup as a person. You know, he's a CEO type. That's just who he is, and he realizes the truth of stuff, and he calls a spade, and that's not how you win elections.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I don't want a politician that talks to me and says the things that I want to hear. I want a politician that says the things that need to be said.
Well, the sad thing about it, and Jason brought up, we got a lot of these people out there that don't know their backside from a hole in the wall, and they're going to be voting. And if you tell them that you don't care about their vote, and the news media keeps putting that in front of their face, guess what?
Yeah.
You just lost the election over some stupid comment, because the news media is not going to let them forget.
Well, at least if you're a Republican, they won't let you forget.
True.
If you're Obama, you get passed on everything.
Well, I mean, even when his teleprompter goes down, it's okay. We're not going to talk about that. When he just blah, 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 my teleprompter. Can you bring that back up, please? Sorry. And
I thought we weren't talking about his mistress today.
Yeah. I think he does sleep with the teleprompter at night. I'm not too sure what much.
When his teleprompter breaks, apparently you built that.
All right, what's another question here?
We built
it. We have another one. Question comes from the online blog. Question: was Fast and Furious / Gunwalker an act of treason?
Can I take that? Because I blogged on this when this came out. It's absolutely an act of treason. Okay, what they did was wrong and illegal, which in turn killed American people, and no one is taking any credit for it. The DOJ came out the other day, and they're making it sound like, oh, it's a victory for us. No, it's not. Not by any means. Because they won't answer the questions. They won't release the documents. And the sad part is Congress voted Eric Holder in contempt. And the DOJ won't go after him. It's, again, political BS.
Well, treason, I mean, put that in context. What makes it treason?
Treasonous?
Yeah.
The fact that it wasn't approved by anybody. Let's look at it this way. Because they also
treason is a specific charge.
They said an act of war too. If you're in Mexico and we ship all these guns over your border that kill your people without letting you know, is that not an act of war?
Yes, it could be damaging internationally. It could do a lot of harm between relations between America and Mexico. But
so those
that's
guys
not the definition of treason.
Reverse. Okay, well, treason. The treason is the fact that they're hiding from the facts.
Well, it's dishonest.
Which
it's
killed
illegal.
American lives.
Yeah, I mean, you can have lies that cause death, but treason is arming people to take over the country. Were they arming people to take over the U.S.? Treason.
No, treason is going against your country. That's treasonous.
The offense of acting to overthrow one's government or to harm or kill its
own civilians.
Yeah.
Is an act of treason. They knew what these guns were going to do. I mean, for God's sakes, they're not water guns. If Mexico sat there and sent all these weapons over to the United States, right? Thousands of our citizens.
It could be considered an act of war.
Why wouldn't it?
I agree with the fact Mexico could consider this an act of war.
But it's borderline treason. It's like going too far.
But I have a problem with saying treason. I mean, it doesn't add up to my definition of treason.
Okay, what about this, Jason? I have a question for you.
All right.
Okay, we all know that Bush had a similar program. Not the same program. It was a different one. Different standards. But Bush did it in the same kind of way without letting people know about it.
Correct.
Would that not be considered treason? Because the way he did it.
No, because A, the guns were tracked. They didn't just let them loose. B, the Mexican government approved his operation. And C, we didn't have civilian casualties because of it. Because the guns were tracked.
And they to be honest, they cut their program off pretty quick too.
They did.
When they realized
this could be bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait,
they
you're
didn't
talking
leave
about
it.
Bush, or?
Yeah, Bush. Bush cut. They had the program turned off, and they realized we could have some bad feedback from this, and we're not going to let it continue. Obama actually used the program for domestic issue. He was actually trying to get the idea that American gun makers were causing violence in Mexico. He was going to turn it on the Smith & Wesson crowd. He was going to turn it on Colt 45. He was going to turn it on the makers, the manufacturers of guns in America. That was the big plan, and it backfired on him because the truth came out. That was the bottom line.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the end, and we need to do our final say, and I'm going to let Jason go.
I'm going to go last.
No.
No, I'm going to go.
We'll
I
let you
went
go
first last
second.
week.
I wanted to go last this week, but all right, we'll let you go last.
Oh, come on, boys.
Ben.
Yep, get along.
That's fine. That's fine. You can go last.
No, I'll go next. Go ahead, Ben.
All right. Basically, this election is a time. Honestly, I don't see this as a saving point in the nation. You know, Romney wins, Obama wins. We've got some hard times in front of us, no matter who wins. And we've got to put people in charge, and we got to focus on the senators and the congressmen.
Agreed.
And that, I think, is getting overshadowed. The president, to be honest, whoever gets in there can probably do harm, but is he going to have the ability to actually change the discussion in Washington? He's not, unless we put the congressmen and the senators in charge that are going to do something. Because, to be honest, I don't care who's in there. He's got a huge pile of, pardon my French, shit to clean up. Thank God we're on the internet.
Okay, I'll go with mine, and I'll let you finish up, but I'm going to take it away from politics for a second. But on my way here, I was behind a car, and it had, you know, the stick figure families where it's, you know, you have the mom, dad, 20 kids, and a cat, dog, whatever. I saw one that had deers. It was all deers, and they were all pink. And I'm sitting there like, okay, whatever. And then I noticed their names were underneath each one. The people's names were in the, and I'm sitting there like, so on the other side of the car, you're going to start putting your schedule there? You know, you're going to start putting your list of fears? Because I'm going to follow you to the school where you pick up your kids. And then the next day, I'm going to go back and say, hey, Billy, your mom, Mary, and your dad, Joseph, said to come pick you up. I mean, how stupid can you be to put your kids' names on the back of your car driving around like that? That's just me. It kind of irritated me on the way in, and I felt like expressing that moment.
Fair enough.
That's great. That's great, Mark. I'm proud of you. I'm
My
proud of that.
My final say is to the president himself. Mr. President, start acting like the president. Quit doing this on The View, Letterman bull crap. We got too much things on the plate right now for you to go around dick-dacking around, talking to people that don't care about you. Get focused on the issues. I understand you got an election, but get focused on the issues and the real problem that this country has.
Done.
Well, I was also going to mention, too, that I think for this show and for this program, if there's any politician out there looking at our show, I say let's challenge them. I say come on our show, either Blog TV,
call in.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Give us a debate. Give us some topics. Let's talk about the real issues. But that's what I just wanted to say.
All right, guys. I appreciate you coming out again. We'll be here Monday at 7 o'clock next week.
Peace.
As always, thank you.
Over and out.
Thank you for joining us today, and hopefully to see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and please don't forget to subscribe below.